I didn't plan to look beautiful that day. No lipstick, no perfume, not even the red wrap dress he used to love. I didn't want to send the wrong message. This wasn't romance. It was the end. A quiet goodbye in the same tucked-away cafe where it had all started. A small Italian place on Melrose no one remembered unless they needed to hide. How fitting, really. What began in shadows should end there too. Caleb sat across from me, sipping his coffee like we were nothing more than old classmates catching up. I didn't let myself smile. I didn't let the weight of nostalgia soften my resolve. "This ends now," I told him. He raised an eyebrow, skeptical. "You've said that before, Leia." "This time it's final," I replied, steady but tired. "Alan doesn't deserve this. He never did." Caleb leaned back in his chair, voice lower, eyes challenging. "Then why'd you start it in the first place?" I didn't answer. How could I? Loneliness? Restlessness? The need to feel seen, desired, wanted? None of it felt worth saying aloud. All excuses, pathetic ones. What I didn't notice was the Lexus idling just outside the cafe window. Or the man standing motionless on the sidewalk, watching from behind the glass. The man I'd promised forever to. Caleb didn't argue. Maybe he saw something in my expression. He dropped a few bills on the table, stood, and leaned in close enough to speak softly. "Tell your husband I'm sorry," he said. Sorry he was too blind to see what he had. It wasn't an apology. It was a blade, dull but deliberate. As I turned to leave, something shifted in the air. A silence heavier than guilt. And there he was, just inside the door. Alan. No rage. No questions. His face was unreadable, his eyes empty. He looked from Caleb's now empty chair to mine, said nothing, then turned and walked out. Panic surged through me. I ran after him, calling his name, begging him to stop. "Alan, please. Let me explain." He didn't look at me, just got into the car and drove away. That night was endless. His side of the bed remained untouched. The bathroom cabinet half empty. His toothbrush gone. His scent slowly fading. I called, texted. Nothing. By morning, the ground beneath me began to crack. The shared bank account? Inaccessible. Password changed. Credit cards declined. A notice from the bank appeared in my inbox. Access suspended at account holder's request. By 10 a.m., I stood outside his sister Mara's house. She had always been kind, always defended me. But that morning, she opened the door and didn't move aside. "You shouldn't be here," she said, arms folded. "Mara, I was ending it. I didn't know Alan would." "You ended it after you broke him," she snapped. "You have no idea how many nights he blamed himself. The therapy, the silence. He's not angry anymore," she added, voice low. "And that's what should scare you." The door closed. The next morning, a thick envelope arrived. Legal documents. Divorce papers. Already signed. Already filed. The date stamped on the documents hit me harder than I expected. 2 weeks ago. Before the cafe. Before I'd even made the decision to end things. Alan had known. He wasn't reacting. He had already moved on to consequences. I called the attorney listed. A polite assistant answered. "Mr. Alan Rhee has requested all communication be directed through our office. He will not be speaking to you directly." My hands shook. There must be some mistake. "I'm afraid not. Mr. Rhee has also secured financial protections and property separation. Your name has been removed from all shared assets." At work, whispers followed me. In the hallway, in the break room. Then came the meeting. A folder on the table. My messages. My photos. Screenshots. Timestamps. Everything. "This was submitted through our whistleblower system," HR explained. I was placed on leave. No hearing. No room to explain. When I got home that evening, a plain box sat on the porch. Inside, my wedding dress, cleaned and sealed, a USB flash drive, and a folded note in simple block letters. "This is my final gift. Do not contact me again. A.R." I sat at my desk and inserted the flash drive. Footage played, our conversation at the cafe. Every word, every look, captured clearly. A hidden camera had recorded it all. Alan entering, me freezing, Caleb's departure, the final frame, a single sentence on a black screen. Closure is not something you've earned. The video never made it online. No public shaming. Just quiet, calculated damage. Shared in silence. Clients saw it. Co-workers. Family. My parents. My friends. None called. At work, my dismissal was immediate. No references. No exit interview. Even my sister, who had cried at my wedding, looked me in the eye and said, "You didn't just break his heart, Leia. You shattered his foundation." And then came the final blow. A YouTube channel. Anonymous. Simple title, The Cost of Silence. First upload. Blurred faces, altered voices. But anyone who knew us could recognize the scene. And the voiceover chilling in its calm delivery. You don't need rage to win. You need time, strategy, and enough distance to let the truth speak for itself. It wasn't cruel. It wasn't even personal anymore. It was cold justice served in layers. I now rent a small studio apartment. Work side jobs. Scrub floors and clean tables. Ramen is my staple. Silence is my punishment. I haven't seen or heard from Alan since. Not a message. Not a rumor. Just quiet. Until I heard his voice again on a podcast. A surprise guest. The host introduced him as a strategist. The topic? Handling betrayal. "How do you deal with heartbreak?" the host asked. Alan's voice was steady. "With silence. With distance. You don't fight fire with fire. You stop feeding the flame." He didn't mention me. He didn't have to. That night, I looked at an old photo still taped to my fridge. Our wedding day. His smile was real. And I whispered through tears, "You deserved better." Then I sank to the floor and wept. Not just for what I lost, but for what I destroyed. A week later, a plain envelope arrived. No return address. Inside, a single typed line. "Some storms come not to break you, but to clear the path ahead." Beneath it, in small type, "I've walked mine. Now you walk yours." No signature. No threat. Just the final page of a story I wrote in Betrayal, and he ended in silence.